Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sup, Frontier? It's Friday, and today we're going to be going over national news, weather, the regular stuff, pop culture, which is Eurovision, thanks to Miss Kean and Miss Strelke. And it's March, Women's History Month, which is going to be super cool. We'll do a segment on that. And we'll go over sports and stuff too. What do you have to say?
Facts. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
Obviously, over the last week or so, we've seen the invasion really begin in Ukraine with the Russians crossing the border into Ukraine and just recently, I think, taking their first major city of Ukraine. But the surprising news is the resistance that's been taking place, not only with a lot of the European countries standing up and pushing back economically against the Ukraine, but surprisingly, even Germany starting to rebuild its military forces for the first time since World War II. So whether or not we see major changes in Ukraine, we're already seeing major changes throughout Europe and the rest of the world, especially as they relate to Russia. So Mr. Putin, unfortunately for him, is becoming more isolated, and unfortunately many of his friends are having their jets and their yachts confiscated in the name of getting Putin and the rest of Russia out of the democratically elected country of Ukraine. So hopefully our friends in Ukraine will continue their resistance against the Russians and continue the struggle for democracy and freedom. And speaking of democracy and freedom, we have an update in the place that decides the fate of all of our legal decisions, and that's the Supreme Court. And for that, I'll pass that back over to Mr. Guy.
Thanks so much, Mr. Vendetti. So I wanted to just make a quick statement on last week. President Biden made history by nominating the first African-American woman to be put on the Supreme Court. Her name is Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. So what we're going to see now is the Senate confirmation hearings where the U.S. Constitution states that the U.S. Senate has the power to confirm someone to the Supreme Court. So in our 232-year history of the United States Supreme Court, this is the first time we could have an African-American woman sitting in that very important place here going forward for our democracy. So it's kind of exciting to see, and we'll see what happens in the coming weeks.
We've got two fairly upsetting laws going on right now in Florida and in Texas that really negatively impact school-age LGBTQ youth. So what's going on in Florida, they have a bill that's being called the Don't Say Gay bill, which basically is a bill that would make it so that teachers and people in schools can't talk about gender and sexuality. And that would be particularly in elementary schools when you start talking about like different kinds of families and just like identity and gender in general. They wouldn't be allowed to like acknowledge that anything other than straight heteronormative people exist, which obviously is pretty upsetting for young students and for like learning about the realities of the people that do exist in this world. Students know pretty young if they don't feel quite the same as their peers, and to be denied conversations that could give them that, oh, like that's me kind of moment, that deny them representation in their classrooms, is really detrimental and potentially very damaging to them for their mental health, and also just for their understanding of themselves. So that has passed in the House in Florida. It's now going to the Senate.
I am Luke. I'm here with Mr. Dredge, and I'm going to be asking him about possible changes with the mask mandate. The vote's coming up soon. What do you think about us possibly losing the masks, Mr. Dredge?
Well, I think, it's one of those things where when you're looking at the national news and our state news, I think, folks have decided that it's time, given case numbers and hospitalizations, that, it's going to be an optional thing for folks. And I think that, for all of us, my biggest thing is now that we know the data and the science is in about how, the different variants are decreasing, my focus is always going to be on mental health. And I think whatever helps us promote more positive mental health, being 2 years into this pandemic, it's going to be time for allowing people to have personal choice.
When do you think they're going to be implemented? Like, when are we going to see real change in the school?
Change of that policy to go to a mask optional one. My understanding is that would start on Monday, March 14th, where then at that point, it is the choice of an individual in the school building whether or not to wear a mask. You'll see some without masks. You'll see some people with masks.
Also, just a quick reminder, if you are choosing not to wear your mask, feel free to bring one anyways, because you're going to need it if you go to the nurse's office or possibly other things. So just come prepared and stay safe, Frontier. I am here with CPLES, expert in all things sports, and I'm just here to ask him a couple questions. How's Frontier been doing in the sports section lately, CPLES?
Yeah, so we've all been doing pretty good. The hockey team just won yesterday. They won 3-0 against Gardner.
Yeah, so we're going to quickly recap the goals. And that first Greenfield goal, about halfway through the first period. Nice play, Shane Kruzek in the far corner. Kevin Bauman, though, he was in my eyes, the star of this game tonight. There was no question about it. Worked both ends of the ice, picked up the puck along the half wall to the goaltender's right side, and just fired that hard shot, and it went top shelf to make it 2-0 Green Wave.
And what a great timing, what a great game by the captain to do the little things in the defensive zone and then come up big when the team needs it.
Then just about a minute and a half later, from almost the identical spot, Sammy Knight unleashed one. That one, Sammy Knight's just went right over the blocker side.
That was exciting. That was after a Western Mass victory, so congrats to them. Girls basketball plays tonight at East Hampton, and then the boys are here tomorrow for a game against West Bridgewater. So pop out to both of those.
Shout out to Green Wave Hockey and Frontier boys and girls basketball. Is there anything going on in national sports or?
Yeah, so usually around now the Major League Baseball would start, but I mean, I'm sure as some of you know, maybe not all, but some of you know, that it's currently in a lockout and people are very, very aggravated with Commissioner Rob Manfred. It's starting to go south, and yeah, we'll see, but it's very possible that there's no baseball this year, which would stink, but hopefully we get an agreement. The trade deadline just passed. James Harden to the Sixers, biggest move of the trade deadline. He looks really, really sharp. The Sixers are 3-0 since they got him. Lakers are a mess as always. So, yeah, it's pretty entertaining.
All right, good to know. Thank you so much, CPLES. And shout out to Green Wave Hockey for making Western Mass champs. And FCAT Media, too, was there filming the whole thing. I was, and we hit 100 viewers for the first time. So that was a big milestone. Lots of celebration that night, and yeah, if you ever can't come to a game or you want to watch it after it happens, they're always streamed live on FCAT Media on YouTube.
Weather. Today, it's 36 degrees Fahrenheit. It's going to be partly cloudy, but there's still some sun. Tomorrow, Saturday, 43 degrees. It's going to be cloudy. I'm so sorry. And Sunday, yay, Sunday. It's not going to be sunny. It's rain. It's going to be 63 degrees though, which is nice.
Hola, buenos dias, bonjour, konnichiwa, sanu, salam alaikum. My name is Senora Sharon, and I'm very excited to be talking to you about the Seal of Biliteracy today. The Seal of Biliteracy is a new program that we're starting at our school. It was adopted in Massachusetts in 2018. And what it means is when a student graduates from Frontier Regional, they can graduate with a seal on their diploma that shows that they can speak 2 languages at a high proficiency level. And so it's not just for native speakers of English who have taken classes here at Frontier in Spanish, French, or Latin, but it is also for non-native speakers of English who speak another language at home, or possibly 2 other languages. So what this entails is taking an exam called the APPLE exam. It's for many different languages. Latin is different, it's called the ALIRA. But that exam, in addition to the MCAS English results, would show the proficiency level of the student. And so this is a program that we're very excited about that is going to be taking place here at Frontier in April. And we are Ms. Nelson and I are going to be having an informational meeting on March 10th during PACE. So if you're interested, please come by and see us. This is for juniors and seniors who have taken a level of 3 or 4 in Spanish, French, or Latin, or for students who are native speakers of another language. And so please come and see us. We're very excited about this, and it's a wonderful way to showcase your talent, your skill, and to take it to the next level in this global world that we live in today. Okay, thank you very much. Gracias. Hasta luego.
We'd like to highlight Women's History Month with a couple informational clips, so let's get into it.
Women's History Month, a month-long celebration to honor women's often overlooked contributions to American history, like those of Elizabeth Blackwell, the first woman to officially become a doctor in the United States in 1849. Sojourner Truth, Susan B. Anthony, and Elizabeth Cady Stanton, all leaders in the women's suffrage movement. And Harriet Tubman, who led hundreds of enslaved people to freedom. But what's the history behind Women's History Month? It all began in 1978 with only a week-long celebration. It was organized by the Sonoma County Commission on Women. The week of March 8th was selected to correspond with International Women's Day, which had been celebrated around the world on March 8th since 1911. The movement began to gain momentum, and the following year, other communities and school districts initiated their own celebrations of Women's History Week. Then in 1980, the National Women's History Project lobbied for national recognition, and they were heard, because in February of that year, President Jimmy Carter issued the first proclamation, which declared the week of March 8th as National Women's History Week. 6 years later, the same organization petitioned for an expansion on the event, and in March of 1987, Congress passed Public Law 100-9, proclaiming March as Women's History Month. Now every March and all month long, we celebrate countless extraordinary women who've earned their place at the table. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Hey, I'm Miss Blair, and I'm here with this week's HOSA Health Minute. The month of March includes over 90 awareness designations and observances, including National Nutrition Month, Women's History Month, and National Athletic Training Month, among others. Today's HOSA Health Minute is all about movement and the ways that moving our bodies can support not only our physical wellness, but also our mental health. Science already offers plenty of encouraging evidence that exercise can lift our moods. Experiments show that when people and lab animals start working out, they typically grow calmer, more resilient, happier, and less apt to feel sad, nervous, or angry than before. Now, this is not an attempt to say that movement is the singular cure for all mental health conditions all the time, but the evidence is clear that regular movement has benefits. According to Harvard Medical School, regular exercise can reduce anxiety by making your brain's fight or flight system less reactive. So, whenever possible, take a movement break. Even a 5-minute walk can bring about some of these positive benefits. More and more teachers are making movement breaks the norm. Let's keep supporting health and wellness at Frontier by normalizing movement throughout the day. Thanks for listening. This has been this week's HOSA Health Minute.
Welcome back. dreams were your ticket out. Welcome back to that same old place that you laughed about.